Welcome to Haken, an Animal Crossing podcast, your podcast dedicated to all things Animal Crossing. Episode 168 is brought to you by Michael Dotson, Tyler Houchin, and Gerard Priori, some of our newest Patreon patrons. This week, Nina, Sergio, and I are going to talk about the sales numbers that just came out for New Horizons. Then, we'll talk about the latest update for New Horizons, along with fan reception and what we think should happen in year 2 of updates for New Horizons. So to begin, hello Sergio, how are you doing?
Hi Chuy, I'm doing pretty awesome. It's been a whole bunch of excellent weeks, let's say that.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear it. And then, hi Nina, how are you doing?
I'm doing super good. Super good.
Nice.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I guess, I didn't really announce this in the beginning of the episode, but we have some new art. It is February now, so it is official. It's time for some new Haken artwork to be highlighted here. And this artwork comes from DazedHaus, or Erica, but I usually know her as DazedHaus, but she's actually been a member here for a very long time. She's not around too often, but she was actually here like way in the beginning of this podcast when it started. So it's really awesome. I started seeing her art around Instagram and everything, and then she just reached out, and I was like, yeah, you're doing some awesome stuff. I'm down to have you do some art for us. So really great just catching up with her and everything. So as usual, I do have her socials in the description. She's got a couple Instagrams, one's for art and one's kind of a personal one, so be sure to check those out and follow her. She's really cool. But yeah, I guess let's talk about this piece a little bit. We've got Pave as the highlight here, and then we've got Freckles and Pom Pom, so it's a very bird driven piece right now. And I'm very excited to see Pave when he comes to our islands, so it's really fun to see.
It's
just
February.
Featheruary.
There you go, you saved it.
Yeah.
That joke was foul.
We could just keep them coming. So Freckles and Pom Pom, I actually talked to her a little bit later and said, yeah, a lot of patrons really liked the villager choices here. I shared it with them just yesterday in the Haken newsletter, and yeah, there are a couple of ducks that people really like, and she told me that her best friend actually picked the villagers, so her best friend has some good taste for these. So I guess there's one more thing to go over here. She did give us a little statement, and that is, it's been a privilege to see this community grow from a handful of players to the amazing place it is today. Best wishes moving forward, and I'm excited to see all the places this podcast will go. So yeah, like I said, we've known her for a long time. She's been around for a while, and we're really glad to have her grace us with her art for the month of February.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get into the show. We're going to start off with a really quick breaking news announcement. We now have the updated sales numbers for Animal Crossing New Horizons, and these numbers are from the very last day of 2020, December 31st. These numbers are up to date up until that time, which is, they've really only gotten a month more of sales, so I don't know how much higher the number could be, but it is a very high number at this point. Animal Crossing New Horizons is sitting at 31.18 million copies sold.
That's unreal.
That is phenomenal. That is well over double what New Leaf sold at this point, which was the previous reigning champ for Animal Crossing at, I think it was 13 point something million.
Yeah.
And blown out of the water at this point. It's amazing to see. It is still second place to Mario Kart. The Mario Kart has 33.41 million copies sold, so just over 2 million ahead. And honestly, I'm going to say this, it's definitely because Mario Kart was bundled with Switch consoles during the holiday,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that definitely helped its numbers. There was a really good, not a really good deal, but it's basically the only deal Nintendo does during the holiday season is, let's give them Mario Kart. Everybody has it. They'll benefit from that, right?
Plus, it's been out forever.
True.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I will say, like Mario Kart, like this doesn't put into account the numbers that it sold on the Wii U. Like this is
Right.
specifically deluxe, and tons of people had it on the Wii U.
Mm-hmm.
Mario Kart is just
Oh, true.
it's wildly successful. But to see Animal Crossing like on its tail and not loosening up the pedal at all, like it is gonna catch up at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, after
Um,
under a year.
Yeah, especially
Yeah.
without like a holiday too. Yeah, under a
Mm-hmm.
year, you're totally right. I felt like you were gonna say something, Sergio.
No, no, Anina is absolutely right. 1 year and it's gonna be the best-selling Switch game.
Yes, and it's okay. Third place is Smash Brothers. Smash Brothers has 22.85 million copies sold. So Animal Crossing is almost 10 million copies ahead of Smash,
Wow.
which nobody thought that would ever happen. It's truly phenomenal to see these types of numbers. I think at this point, there are still, the people who are going to say that it's all thanks to the pandemic and everything, but I think like after a year of the pandemic and other games also being released during this time, it's safe to say that Animal Crossing is a hit even beyond that. I don't think I've seen any other game, I guess, latched onto quite like Animal Crossing has been. I think it does have an advantage where it's very socially oriented, and it feels like the right game to have during a pandemic, but I don't know. At some point, you got to take into account like people are loving the game and they're hearing about it. Others are hearing about it and saying, you know what? I want to give that a try. And I'm really glad that there are so many people getting into, of course, one of our favorite games of all time, right? Yeah. So, anyways, that is the quick update on sales numbers. 31.18 million copies sold. Truly amazing. The 7 or so copies that I bought are just a drop in the bucket of this. Like, a lot of people have bought this game, and we hope, just welcome them into an awesome community because I think we have a lot of cool people who play Animal Crossing now. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. Let's get into the main topics for the show. We've got to discuss this late January update that they really took their time putting this thing out. Literally the last week of January, we got the trailer. I think it was last Tuesday, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, so we got the trailer. We finally got to see things going on. The game actually updated, I think, Wednesday night for us because usually the servers update according to Japan time. So, we get a day early for some things here.
And
So,
we need to listen back to our prediction episode because I feel like one of us got this right at least.
I think overall we kind of knew what we were expecting here.
Yeah.
I think we nailed it pretty closely. Like I don't think any of us were at this point expecting anything too huge regarding this update just because I don't know. For me it feels like it's too close to the 1 year, and I've been saying that for a
Yeah.
while, and Nina, I know you tend to just like not get your hopes up too high.
We'll get into that too, but I just mean like for the drop date. We totally got it.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I
Yeah.
think we did.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was even saying like, man, this is gonna be late.
Yeah.
Almost February late.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I'll go really quickly through what the update actually had. So Festivale is going to be occurring on February 15th, I believe, which is a Monday, usually the Monday before Mardi Gras and Fat Tuesday, that holiday. And Pave is going to come visit. That's all we really know about the event as of right now, because it is once again time locked. There is really no way for people to like time travel to it at the moment. It's on the server side, so when the server reaches a certain time, it'll unlock for people. But as of right now, we don't really know. There are some new items that we can purchase at Nook starting yesterday, which is Monday for all of you, today for us. So there are new items revolving around this festival event. You can buy them over at Nooks. They're going to be in that left bottom corner, kind of like the special item corner where they usually are. And don't forget to check out the cabinet because there are some new reactions that you can buy. They are adorable, totally worth every penny for those,
Real.
every bell. And there are some new pieces of clothing revolving around Festivale as well. So check out Able Sisters. They've got a whole bunch of new stuff for you to celebrate with. And then that's not all the shopping. There are some new seasonal items available in the Nook Shopping app as well. So check that out. They've got the tossing beans, a Rossetti model, finally some Rossetti appearance in the game.
Yeah.
They've got a bunch of megaphones. They do swap out. There's different colors, so check those pretty regularly. I think there's a total of 4 different megaphones. There is a football rug, or an American football rug if you're not from the States here. And then just today, we started being able to buy some chocolates and a bouquet for Valentine's Day. So a couple special items for that, but 6 of them, that means it's going to take you a couple days to collect them unless you have a friend send you over that 6th one that you couldn't quite order, because there is a limit of 5 things. So be wary of that. Make sure you get these before they go away. I'm actually checking the app right now to see
Yeah.
when that is.
Plus-
Until... Oh, the bean tossing kit is going away on the 3rd, and the Rossetti model is going away on the 2nd. So
Oh.
those are like right away today. If you're
Yeah.
listening to the episode today, it's the last day to get the Rossetti model. Football things, the rug and the megaphone, those are here until the 15th, and then the chocolate heart and bouquet, the heart-shaped bouquet, are here until the 14th. So Valentine's Day will be the last day that you can pick those up. So
And everybody needs to keep checking back on their app daily because you can get different colors of the megaphone, the chocolates, and the bouquet.
Oh, yeah. So there are reasons to keep looking back, which I don't think we've really seen that before with these items, have
Yeah,
we?
no.
Yeah, I
That
think
I
this
can
is a
think of.
this is a fresh new take on these, and I'm hoping we see that a little bit more too going into the future, just because it's fun to get a new item, but when it's always the same new item, it's really nice to have those color swatches, just to change it up a bit.
Yeah.
And then the last big thing from this update is the return of the Sanrio amiibo cards, which is a huge deal specifically because this is the first time North America is getting these amiibo cards. I remember regretting every decision I ever made in my life when I was like, you know what, I'm going to wait for these Sanrio cards to come to the States.
Oh.
There were desperate times that were had when I was trying to complete my amiibo collection, and I was like, okay, it's like $250 for 6 cards. Can I justify it?
No.
I couldn't. I eventually found a friend who gave me a great deal on them. But a lot of people weren't quite that lucky, I actually saw a post on Reddit that somebody had literally the day before this announcement spent $250 to buy the set of amiibo cards. And so somebody got very unlucky and somebody else got really lucky at that point. Anyways, this set is pretty interesting because it is a collaboration with Sanrio, a lot of Hello Kitty characters and everything. But I do have a question for both of you. Do you think this means that we're going to get the Sanrio villagers in Animal Crossing New Horizons?
I don't, which means that this return is too little too late for me, honestly. I don't know. Sergio, what do you think?
I mean, it's nice. Let's see. I mean, I'm not expecting it, but maybe if they add new things, besides what they already do, I doubt it. But it's nice to have. I like Cinnamoroll. I love him.
Yeah,
Well-
do you both have them?
Oh,
Yeah.
I have the bootleg version.
Yeah, which totally fine.
I mean, they
don't
work.
tell Nintendo. Yeah, they work.
Okay, but Sergio's just made me think of something. So I don't think that the characters are coming back, but in New Leaf, they did have really cute furniture sets for each card also. So that
Yeah.
feels like it could very easily be implemented if they wanted to.
My favorite one, my favorite item from one of those sets, I forget who had it, but it was like a little pond with a bridge going over it.
That sounds like
Adorable.
Karopi.
Yeah, I think that's one of theirs. Super cute. I love that item.
I think
Um,
my favorite was in the Hello Kitty set. There was a little potted plant that was like a little hedge in the shape of her head. It was really cute. I love that back.
That's great. Yeah, I guess as of right now, the Sanrio cards do work in New
Hmm.
Horizons. They don't call up the characters or anything, but you do get a cool poster, and this poster is based off of the Japanese pack. So in Europe, in Australia, they got one pack of Sanrio cards that contained all 6 cards. We're probably going to get that same style here in the States where it has all 6 of the cards, so you only
Mm.
really have to buy one pack and be done, you know? But in Japan, the packs had 2 cards and one like sticker card thing. And these sticker cards had this really cute artwork where you got to see the characters of Sanrio and Animal Crossing like together.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
really cool that we get to see those through posters here, but I'm almost tempted to buy myself some Japanese packs to get like physical versions of those cards, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah, because I don't know, it feels like a really nice piece of memorabilia, and I don't know, I'm a sucker for that stuff, you know? um,
The
but
posters
yeah,
are super cute. I really enjoy the one with KK on it. What is it with KK and Cinema Roll?
Cinema Roll,
Maybe.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
perfect
super
match.
cute. Aw.
adorable. My favorite one is the one with Cap'n, the little island, and Pascal's swimming in
Ah,
the beach as well.
that's a cute one.
My least favorite one is definitely the My Melody one because it scares me a little bit. It's basically like Lottie dressed up as a bunny, and she's like looking at, I don't know if she's like wearing a towel or or something, but there's a little tiny Digby on a chair. I'm disturbed by it. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that one. Outside of that, what did you all think of the update trailer and announcements? I guess Sergio, do you want to start here?
Sure. So, they played it safe. It's kind of what we expected. They just showed Pave. We know the event is coming. Not a lot of added things. We got a couple of items. I feel like they didn't even show everything in the trailer that we got. Um, I mean, I guess that's kind of the norm nowadays, but I kind of expected a little more. But yeah, they played it safe. It was expected, I think.
Yeah, I felt like it was pretty straightforward too, and it was almost exactly as what I predicted in the video I made a bit ago,
Mm.
Yeah,
like probably the
exactly.
week before the trailer. Is basically like the only thing I didn't guess in that video was that we'd be getting dancing reactions, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
And even then, I think we talked about it on the podcast last week, where I was like, somebody mentioned dancing reactions, and I was like, oh yeah, of course, brilliant, that's got to be in there. So,
Hmm.
somebody did leave that comment, and I was like, oh, I agree with them. They're right. Dancing reactions, and I'm glad we got them because they're so cute.
They
Uh,
are.
yeah. So Nina, I guess what did you think of the trailer?
I, it was all right. I was just so surprised at how much stuff it seemed to leave out as I dove further into what the update has. So it was kind of strange to me that they really seemed to be playing it safe.
Hmm.
But I, love seeing Pascal. All his new stuff looks amazing, so that was really exciting to see. Um, but yeah, it just felt very short and to the point for just Festival.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've kind of seen that in the update trailers thus far, where we get a good amount of stuff in the trailer, and then there's like also a good amount of stuff that's not in the trailer. But this one, it felt, I think, the strangest just because it was literally like Festival. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's the trailer, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, and there
Um,
was so much other stuff.
yeah, there was a lot of stuff that I think would have been pretty exciting for players, and it seems strange that they left that out, and
Mm-hmm.
it just had to be like side news here and there.
Mm-hmm.
The basically the only other thing that we got was that like Mario items is going to be the next update. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they've
Which
got
we
the mushroom
knew.
and the star.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, which it's I don't know. Now I feel really weird about that next update because I'm like, is it really just going to be like Mario
Mm,
stuff? Like, that's all you've really teased for us
Yeah,
thus
right.
far. You told us about it this long ago. When was that? Like September, I believe? I don't even
Yeah,
know at this
yeah.
point.
Maybe
Um,
August.
join me on my
yeah.
pessimism boat.
Yeah, it's getting hard not to, I'll be honest with you. But I feel at least that I've played it safe a
Hmm.
lot with my guesses. Like, I tend to throw in some pretty out there predictions, I would say, like some
Yeah,
ambitious predictions, I would say. But for the most part, like, I try to keep it pretty reined in and think, like, this would be cool if it happened, but this is kind of what I expect to
right.
happen based on previous experience. But I guess with that said, was there anything that surprised you both about the update? Was there anything, Sergio?
Well, I was hoping that we would still be able to collect the feathers. And I'm glad they didn't change that. In a way, I was
Hmm.
expecting them to because it seems they haven't changed in some of the previous events, how they used to work in New Leaf. But this one, I mean, the feathers are still around, so I was glad. I was glad that I wasn't surprised.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. And
Hmm.
I mean, they didn't show too much of it, really.
They really
Right.
Because
didn't.
it felt like they caught maybe one feather and that was it. Like they did the whole exchange thing with Pave
Yeah.
and we got to see the dance. But yeah, I don't know. It felt like there really wasn't a lot in there at
Right.
all.
And
So I
this
guess
is
Nina, were you surprised?
yeah. Well, so but first this is like a major holiday too. This after Harvest Festival, this was probably the holiday that takes me the longest. So they did
Oh.
again. They made it look so fast in the trailer, and I feel like I spend tons of time on this, especially in New Leaf.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, anyways, so what surprised me was that they seem to be making it more authentic to Brazilian culture, which I think is really
Mm.
cool. Um, like
Yeah.
the outfits look a little more traditional, especially since they have like the tassels on the feet. And some of the dances even look kind of like, well, we're gonna have to ask on Haken if we have any Brazilian members, but the dances look a little more traditional to me too, which is awesome.
Mhm.
So that really surprised me. And I love how the furniture is kind of like made for outdoor celebration too. That's kind of
Mm.
new for us, and I was really surprised and excited.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with you there. Like the items were definitely I feel like the items tend to be the fun surprise for me because one thing I know a lot of people aren't really happy with like the lack of previous furniture series in
Hmm.
this game. But for me I was like, I've had a lot of this stuff like four different times in pre all the previous Animal Crossing games. Like of everything in the game, I felt like the furniture was what needed more of an update. So when I see the items, I'm always like, yes, I wanted something fresh from this. Like
Yeah.
it feels like fun to see what the HD interpretation of these things are, because yeah, more than anything, I'm just like, I need to see new stuff. And when I have new things to decorate, and I got one of the balloons today, and I already have it out somewhere,
Yeah.
and
Nice.
it, I'm just amazed by them. Every new item I feel adds so much more for us to, just like work with around our islands and our homes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what color
Yeah.
balloon did you get?
I have green. Yeah, so kind of
Nice.
what they showed in the trailer. I think they showed the green and the red, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think there are a couple more colors, but those are basically the only ones I've seen. I haven't like looked up any pictures of the others.
So I got the stage today and it was blue, which I'm very excited about.
Oh, yeah. I want to see the stage because I don't think I've seen it. Is it what everybody thought was like the carpet thing?
Sort of. It's like a carpet and it has like four floor lights that shine up on the like corners.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the carpet's round. And then when you walk or run over it, little feathers move. It's really cute.
Oh, I love that. I love that
Yeah.
they've implemented that on a lot of the items that you kind of like run across, you know?
Yeah. What did you get
Yeah.
today, Sergio?
I haven't played yet.
No! Oh no. We might have to get you to boot up to see what color you got.
Yeah, you'll have to get on.
Ooh.
And I think the colors do change depending on what your airport color is.
Okay.
Oh,
So,
nice.
yeah, so I think it is tied to the airport colors. And so, yeah, just go to a place with a different colored airport and you should be able to find somebody to trade with.
Though I don't think it's 1-to-1 because you have a green airport, right, Chuy?
I do.
So you got green stuff, but I have a yellow airport and got blue stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's true. I don't think it's like matches what your airport is.
Mm-hmm.
But it just so happens to with the green.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess we do have to talk about this, but I don't know if you all noticed, but a lot of people weren't really happy with this update. I'd say more than any other, and more than any other, I'd say was justified too. But the fans were not feeling happy, and I guess I wanted to ask both of you, like, why do you feel fans were not happy with this update? I guess, do you have any idea, Nina?
Most of the complaining I saw online kind of centered around the fact that Nintendo is releasing items and holidays that were already in past games. So it seems like people are thinking that, why are you announcing this as if it's new, new items, new holidays when it should be part of the game to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's what I've been interpreting from what people are saying, and so I don't know, but at the same time, that's kind of been Nintendo's pattern with New Horizons. Yes, we've gotten a couple surprises of like brand new things we've never seen before, but
Mm-hmm.
most of the updates have been centered around a holiday. So I'm
Yeah.
not sure why this one really seemed to irk people. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we do run into that. Like, I remember last February when we got the direct for this game, like, we finally got to see a lot of details. They did
Mm-hmm.
kind of tease that the updates were going to be pretty event oriented at first. Like, we
Mm-hmm.
did know the events were going to be added over time rather than right away. And so, like, for me, I think while there is an awareness of that, I think what people are kind of wanting is just more than just an event. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it feels like it's highlighting what Animal Crossing used to have right out of the gate and not so much showing what the developers are capable of adding like after the game has been quote unquote complete, you know? So I don't know. I think it's a little bit of a frustration with that, like knowing that, like, I guess feeling like it should be an update rather than like feeling that it's just being added to complete what people feel kind of should have been there from the get go, you know?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I will say, Justin from Animal Crossing World pointed out something very interesting to me. And it was basically that this game, it feels like it was really Nintendo's intention to release it in winter of 2019. And this is based on the fact that the ornaments, that material was already in the game, like in the base
Mm.
game.
Okay.
On top of that, Countdown, the event, was already in the base game as well.
Okay.
So he gets the impression that they delayed it because they weren't quite done with it. It seems like events were really literally the last thing that the team was working on to add in the game, and to kind of like, their initial statement about why the game should be delayed was basically like, our developers don't have time and we don't want to crunch, and it seems like these updates have been really based around that. The delay was based around that, and then the updates were like, all right, I guess we're not crunching anymore. Let's just make the update for the event when it happens, you know?
Hmm.
So I think overall there's a little bit of evidence here that says this game was supposed to come out earlier. They delayed it, and now that it's been delayed, they're still working on it to some extent. So yeah. I guess Sergio, what are you thinking here?
Yeah, I think honestly the biggest two reasons that I can think of is that since it's been a really long time since the previous update, people probably thought maybe this one would have a little something extra, you know.
Hmm.
And
Mm,
because the previous updates had more things than just the holiday event that they were tied to. But this one was just that Festivale, a couple of things, and like I said, most of the things that are extras they weren't even on the trailer. So I think that's it really. Just the fact that the previous update was so long ago, people wanted more.
Yeah.
hmm Yeah, that's right. I mean, we're gonna go through a pretty long wait at this point since the last one. 'Cause, the Toy Day stuff, it felt like a pretty big one considering
Right.
we got it basically right before Thanksgiving, you know? So
Yeah.
we just got off of a big Thanksgiving event, which was pretty soon after a October event. Like, I feel like a lot of the big stuff happened in that time period, and so now we've got this kind of little gap here, and then the gap's not really completely full with this update,
Mhm.
and so people are wondering like what's going to happen in March at this point, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and we've been talking since the beginning about how heavy and loaded the fall into winter part of Animal Crossing is.
hmm
So the number of updates we got, the number of holidays and crafting materials and everything that we got fall into winter is not the usual for the rest of the seasons. So I think we all need to kind of bring our bring our expectations back down to like the quietness of the summer, because those kind of big huge holidays only happen once a year, and that's what makes them exciting.
Yeah, I wonder how spring is going to go at this point. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of what we're running into. We're finishing up the first year of Animal Crossing, and it's kind of like, what is there to expect for the next one? So, kind of based on that, like, do you feel like we should be expecting more from the updates, I
Mm.
guess, going forward?
I don't
Honest.
know.
Honestly, I don't think so. I mean, if anything, maybe just for the 1 year anniversary. It's hard to tell. Like you said, Chi, they only teased the Mario stuff. They didn't really make a big deal out of it. Maybe not yet. We'll see. But I think if anything, it will be for that one. After that, I think yeah, we need to keep our expectations in check.
Hmm.
Yeah. Are you feeling similarly, Nina?
Yeah, I'm kind of just looking forward to getting past the Nintendo anniversary. I'm not a huge fan of the Nintendo items. I've said that before. Um, but I am looking forward to seeing what is coming in the second year and how things are going to be tweaked or changed. Because we did have that interview with Ayako Goku, who said, that these updates are going to continue on. So
Yes,
I'm
yes.
excited to see how things are going to change or if they're going to change.
hmm Yeah, I get that. Um, yeah, I feel. I don't know. I'm torn about the Nintendo stuff too. I've talked about that before, where I've seen a lot of houses with Nintendo items, which, it's
Yeah.
fun, it's cool, it's a nice thing that people enjoy, but I, I get a little bored of it after seeing all the same things in each one. But at the same time, like, I guess Animal Crossing can only have so many items, so
Mm-hmm.
we're probably going to run into that eventually where we're just like, oh, I've seen this a million times,
Right.
So I would just like, I want to be surprised by what they bring from Mario,
Mm-hmm.
um, which I don't think they've let me down with too many items thus far. Like, I've been pretty excited about each set that they add to it. And I'm just like, yeah, this feels nice. This feels fresh.
Yeah. I think the only
Yeah.
one that I really wasn't super excited about was the wedding event items. And even with them, there
hmm
were pieces that were really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the organ is one of my
Mm.
favorites still, and I'm like, I wish I did the event a little bit more so I could have more of the organs, you know? Um, yeah. So I guess let's actually get into talking about year two and what kind of updates we should be expecting in year two, or if we should be expecting anything bigger after this one. I think the most significant thing is that the events have already been added in the game. The strange thing that happens with the events is that they are removed after. Like there's not a way to like time travel forward to the events to see them keep coming, you know? So that kind of gives me the suspicion that things are going to change in the future for them, and maybe they're still working on some different things, maybe different items and that sort of thing. But before we get too far into that, do you both feel like the first year of updates fell short of expectations? I guess, Sergio, do you want to start here?
Sure, and honestly, all things considered, I don't think so. Um, Especially because of the pandemic. So the way I see it is, the first couple of updates they felt more robust, more substantial, and I think it's probably because they were done, or almost done when the game was out, and Nintendo had
Mm.
probably bigger plans before the pandemic really hit everything. So I feel that's why those first couple of updates were more substantial. Um, they probably had much bigger plans in the works, and they probably had to scale back. So that considered, yeah, I think it was a good year, first good year of updates.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, you're totally right. Like, I feel like the first few updates definitely showed the types of ambition the team kind of had early on, and
Right,
maybe also showed like they were able to stockpile a little bit of work before things shut down even more than they already were at that point in time, you
right,
know? Because that's the thing we keep on hearing. Like Japan, their work culture was hit pretty hard with this because they do have a culture of like being in the office and doing all of your work there, and they don't have a very great work life balance. I can tell you that from
yeah,
what I've
yeah.
heard. So a lot of their development probably got pretty hindered by that. So I'm right there with you, Sergio. But yeah, Nina, I guess, do you think they fell short with these?
I don't. I was surprised by a lot of the updates. So many of them brought new content we've never seen before, new characters, new holidays, new furniture, and we got a museum expansion. So I mean, I've been playing nonstop all year long. Well, with a few breaks, but pretty much nonstop all year long. And really haven't felt too disappointed. I am missing certain characters, but we still have time. So,
Hmm.
as pessimistic as I can be, I've really enjoyed the first year of New Horizons.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm right there for sure, where I just feel like we got so many things that felt pretty fresh. Like the
Mm,
reimaginings of Red and Gullivar were a couple that
yeah,
definitely stand out to me. Like Red's ship in the secret beach,
it's
adorable. It's
beautiful.
it's so cool. It's so good, and it just like who knew that they had this little secret beach area planned out from the very beginning, you
Yeah,
know?
we were all
Like
wondering what that little beach was.
yeah, and I was even at the point where I was like, I didn't even wonder it. I was just like, oh, what a cool little beach
Mm,
that they put back here for me to decorate. And I was not suspicious of anything going there at all. So
yeah,
for me, it was a big surprise. So I don't know, just seeing stuff like that was exciting. So I think there's still some ideas. And
yeah.
like I said earlier, like the refreshes of what items we're getting during these events is huge
Hmm.
for me. Like, yes, I really love all the classic stuff, but it's also been like 4 games of me getting all of that classic stuff. Am I gonna like it in HD? Yeah, I would, but I am really glad that the first year was focused more on like new items rather than like returning items, you
Yeah.
know?
Hmm.
Yeah. So for me, the updates were, they were great. I, from the first moments I played the game, I knew there was enough for me to pretty much enjoy my first year. So it felt nice knowing that there was going to be more to come, you know?
Mm, that sounds
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. So, my next question for you, before we get into what we should expect, are you tempering your expectations for year two based on what we've gotten so far in year one? And I will actually start here because I've definitely had probably the bigger change of heart of you two because I've been pushing for this 1 year anniversary version 2.0 update,
Right.
and I'm starting to fall into the boat of like, oh my goodness, it's gonna be Mario items, and that's it. um, I mean, there's things they could do that would be very weird, like Mario showing up on our island and talking to us. There's the possibility of some strange things for this one, but
Right.
I don't know. I think I'm starting to think maybe it's just the Mario items, and maybe I'll be happier feeling that feeling now than expecting more. Yeah. So I guess Sergio, what do you think? Are you tempering your expectations for year two?
It's interesting. It's complicated because in a way, yes, based on how year one ended, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see that the updates are becoming a little too basic, too standard, a little predictable maybe. But at the same time, what are we gonna get on year two if the holidays are done? You would expect either
Mm.
returning things from previous games or maybe new things. So I mean, in that approach, yeah, I mean, you're excited because that's what would make sense, unless they decide to change the events a little bit, which would kind of be new. It's
Mm-hmm.
tough. Like, we don't know what they're thinking, but the fact that we're getting a second year of updates overall, I think it's exciting. There's
Mhm.
potential.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, and you make a really good point. Like, we have only made it through the first year. We've only seen the holidays that they've had to offer for this first year. And it is pretty suspicious that they don't let us time travel forward to these events again? So that to me feels like they must have some plan to change it up in year two. Like, what we've seen now is just a little portion of what is to come?
Mhm.
Yeah. So I guess Nina, how are you feeling?
I mean, call me temperance. I I will temper all of my excitedness. Yeah, I mean, I always like to err on the side of caution. And of course, half of the fun of doing this podcast is coming up with like crazy ideas and new characters with you guys, but I never expect to see huge changes. And that way I can be, totally surprised when it does happen. But I do
Hmm.
think that a lot of people need to kind of take a step back and consider what they're asking of the New Horizons team during a global pandemic under strict Nintendo supervision on a console that is already having trouble running really crowded islands. So,
Yeah.
you know, there's only so much that this team can do. And hopefully they will be able to surprise us, but we'll just see. We've got an awesome game no matter what.
Yeah, and kind of on that point too about the console that can still kind of barely run New Horizons at
Mhm.
this point. We've seen those crowded islands, we've seen how much they can really lag the gameplay and everything. The other thing that people don't really realize is like a lot of the development was based around a multiplayer experience too. Like all of these things had to run well in multiplayer. And
Mhm.
so like this game pushes the console. Like whenever I pull out my 3 extra characters, my 4 extra characters, and play the local 4 player mode in this, I really start to notice a
Mhm.
dip
Mhm.
in my frame rates, in pop in, things just like they're this little game of Animal Crossing is pushing the Switch to its limits. And I
Absolutely.
think
Oh
a lot
yeah.
of people really underestimate the power required to run this game, but it's a surprising amount.
I'm
Um,
actually thinking of kind of scaling back my beach. All for the winter, I've been adding like weeds and flowers and rocks all over my beach just to kind of make it
mhm.
look more wintry. And I've noticed that my game is starting to do that like jagged frame rate thing. So I've got to go back to sandy beaches. I think it's driving me insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do want to make one more little side note here. It's not strictly Animal Crossing related, but Nintendo has been coming out with some more news. We'll probably see some more things over this week just because their financials did come out. But investors are asking them big questions about things. Specifically, they asked recently about a new console, meaning, the Switch Pro that people have been talking about these days. And Nintendo has finally done the thing where they say, we have no plans to release a console anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty consistently, after they say a statement like that, they announce a console. This happened with like the new 2DS or the 2DS, this happened with the Switch Lite. This happened throughout the Wii U era where they were like, no, we're not abandoning the Wii U. It was a lie. They knew it was dead for a long time and they were working on the Switch already. But Nintendo has a track record of saying they're not working on a console and then saying something on Twitter later that there's a new console. So we could see potentially a Switch with a lot more power, like a lot stronger hardware that can run Animal Crossing better. So it makes me wonder, like, are the updates going to be oriented around this extra power? Probably not, just because the Switch Lite and Switch exist. But at the same time, it's probably going to be pretty nice playing your Animal Crossing game on that console.
Oh,
Yeah.
but then I have to buy that console.
Yeah, it's not going to be 300 either. That one will be more expensive.
No.
Yeah. So I have a question for both of you. Do you feel like New Horizons is going to add all of the previous characters, some that we are missing? We have been, and I guess we're not doing it this episode, but past couple episodes we talked about characters not in the game yet, Brewster and Gracie. After this update, do you think they're gonna come back with some of them? I guess Sergio, what do you think?
Based on the current progress, the ones we have gotten in the first year, I'm gonna say no. I think, if anything, I've been kind of wondering this idea that maybe New Horizons is sort of a stepping stone to try new things in the series. We got outdoor decorating, we got crafting. I feel like maybe Nintendo wanted to try those things and really refine them. And maybe right now, the next game is actually gonna be kind of like a combination of what we got, the new features and New Leaf. So the next Animal Crossing is gonna have everything. So that may be an option. I'm kind of really liking that idea actually.
Yeah, I would love to see that kind of thing. But yeah, at the same time, I'm thinking there are a lot of characters already that I feel have been rendered kind of useless, at least how their previous iterations worked. Mail, it got completely replaced. Dodo Airlines, I don't know if we're going to see people like Pelly, Phyllis, or Pete come back. Harriet, her role got completely overhauled. We can do our own hair and makeup now. So
Yeah.
is there too much of a need for that? I mean, I'm down for her to sell us a bunch of wigs.
Yeah.
Wigs have always been an
Yeah.
item that we could use more of in the game. But, like some characters I feel will need to be completely reimagined in order for them to work. So I do believe that we're at that point where if we see them, it might just be like a little visit at Harv's like Reese and Cyrus were.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um, but I'm kind of starting to doubt that they're going to have a lot more permanent returns. Like I do think there are going to be some permanent additions later on, but I don't think it's going to be every single character that we've had in previous Animal Crossing games. So Nina, I guess what are you thinking here?
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same lines as you. I think that old characters can be gateways to new content, like Reese and Cyrus were, like Rover was with Mayday. That was so much fun. And it was such like a little Easter egg to see like the back of his head while you're trying to complete the maze and then getting to talk to him at the end.
Yeah.
I'd love to see more old characters like that. The wedding season was super cool, and going to Harv's Island is such an easy way to add back old characters. So, yes, they might be in smaller roles, but I think we could see everybody eventually.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm right there with you. Like maybe they're not permanent, but there is a way to sneak them in there. And
Hmm.
once they do get added, like their amiibo work perfectly fine at Harv's as well. So you
Yeah.
can always set up a little scene with them. I mean, if you have their amiibo,
Yeah.
it's dependent on that. Um, but here's my last question. I think it's the main thing that we were getting to with this section. What kind of updates do you think the game needs the most? Sergio, do you want to kick us off here?
Sure. And going off of my previous comment, that idea of like the next Animal Crossing having everything, with that in mind, I'm thinking two things for the rest of the updates for New Horizons. So the first is minor quality of life improvements, and then also some safe additions. We've seen those fan videos of the quality of life updates that they could do.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I don't think they're gonna go that much into it. Just maybe the top things requested, like multiple crafting at once, some shortcuts here and there, or less restrictions on the multiplayer. All of that would be very nice. And by safe additions, I mean just like the typical ones we get: more items, more DIYs, and more reactions. I think
Mm.
those are safe bets, honestly, for the second year or even beyond.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree with you for sure. Like, I think for me, there was definitely enough to go through a whole year of collecting and everything, but now I'm looking at what I've got and I'm like, yeah, I think I need some more clothing, furniture, and DIYs. I think the fun thing about clothing is there was a lot of season specific items, so there was always something new to look forward to every time the season changed. Furniture, I guess, didn't really get that benefit in, I guess, Nook's Cranny. Like it seemed like pretty much anything could be available at any time. And then DIYs, except for the like seasonal items, like most stuff you can craft pretty consistently throughout the year. Um, so this kind of brings me to what I'm thinking with the updates. I agree with you. We need more clothing, furniture, and DIYs, but I think one of the biggest bummers about not having more of that is there's not really a reason for places like Nook's Cranny to update. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
the really unique thing about New Horizons is that for the first time, the furniture catalog got really split in half between crafting and shopping,
Hmm.
you know? So, yeah, like Nook's Cranny could potentially become bigger, but if it becomes bigger under the current amount of items, we're just going to see more of the same things that we've been seeing. Like, I don't think we necessarily need Nook's Cranny to update right now because there just aren't items to fill in a new
Mm.
Nook's Cranny at this point. Not unless they add a bunch, right? So as we see things grow, as we see things like our catalogs become more expansive for things we can pick out, I think it's time for stuff to get updated. I wouldn't mind another museum update, for example, like add more fish, bugs, because I'm done catching those. Fossils, too. I've been done with fossils forever. So I think give the buildings a reason to be bigger by adding
Hmm.
items. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Nina, I guess what are you thinking here?
Um, I was having a really hard time answering this question. I do agree with you guys that new furniture, new fish, new things to do are going to be great for the game, and hopefully we will see more like that. But I'm kind of wondering what is going to change the game so much that will bring back people who have just completely dropped off playing New Horizons.
Hmm.
Um, and I just am having trouble coming up with an answer for that. I think quality of life updates would be really great to us daily players, but I'm not sure that would bring players back. And I don't know if like just some more fish and furniture would either. So I don't know. I'm having trouble coming up with like a big idea that will bring people back, but still can feel Animal Crossing-y and still can work within the system. So I don't know.
You know,
I don't know if I have an answer.
I think you're totally onto something there too, though. I mean, I believe the fish would be something more cared about than a lot of other things. My friend was just
Yeah.
telling me that his partner, she still logs in just like at least once or twice a month to be like, all right, I need some new fish and bugs that I didn't get
Okay.
for this month yet, you know? So there are those people who do that kind of check-in. But as far as like others coming back for the long haul, yeah, I don't know. I'm not too confident in that either, just because
Yeah.
like Animal Crossing, there is a way smaller audience that's like us that has it like as a pretty crucial part of our lifestyles, you know? And so like I think a lot of the people who have dropped off have probably had the time they're going to have with New Horizons, you know?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
will probably pick up the next game, you know, and have their fun with that one, but like once you've had your fill with a game, like there's not much gonna bring you back to it in a really substantial way, you know.
Yeah,
So
I'm excited. I mean, hopefully there will be that game changer coming, but I guess we have to wait and see.
yeah, well, I also like kind of think back to basically like New Leaf when they got the Welcome Amiibo update. How many people stuck around with that for more than a month, you know? Not too many from
Yeah.
what I remember, because I
Yeah.
was there still playing for like half a year after that update.
Oh,
Yeah.
That one got me back into the daily mode with the
Oh.
game, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, overall, I'm just thinking there's not an audience that is. I guess there's not a huge audience that's exactly like us when it comes to this game.
Just the
and I
three
think
of us.
that's
That's
fine.
it.
Yeah, and you know, everybody here listening and still having a lot of fun with the game. Um, but you know, like that's just kind of how it goes, and I think that's fine. And it kind of reminds me of what we've been telling people about the game, where it's just like you don't have to play it. I mean, you can, and if you enjoy it, but if you're not enjoying it, like you just don't have to play it,
Yeah.
and that's 100% fine. You don't have to love every single thing about the game or anything, but you know, just play what you enjoy and do what you enjoy. Like Jackie, she watches me play and I play completely differently from her. She'll see me do things and she's like, yeah, I don't want to do that. I'm going to do what I'm doing. So it is a game where you pick and choose how you enjoy spending your time. And if you're not enjoying it, like it's totally fine if you take a break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, I guess we should get to the end of the show here. Let's end it with Haken's Islander Corner. For those of you who don't know, every single week we ask our patrons a question and read their answers out loud here on the show. This week's question was, what did you think of the late January update? So we wanted, you know, some listeners here to let us know what they're feeling. So I guess I'll go, then Sergio, then Nina.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, our first one is from Curry, who is a great friend of the show. We've had her on before. She did the December artwork. Little shout out to her here. But Curry said, I liked it, although I would have loved more interior furniture from Pave. The set we got was beautiful. Not to mention, we get to dance for real this time and not wait to finish our workout session. The end of the workout session is still
So
top
cute.
tier. It's so good. You have to wait like a full 2 minutes to get there, but it's worth it.
Nice. So, Squee of Tortuga said, I will admit it was a bit lackluster. Ironic, considering Pave is all about luster. I'm usually very supportive of the slow approach to Animal Crossing. What would Sergio do? Squee said. But I would be lying if I don't admit I had hoped for something a bit more substantial to do. I'm definitely running out of things to get excited about. There's only so many bugs a girl can catch.
That's true.
Yeah, I feel like, that's the general consensus. We wanted a little more, a little more.
Yeah.
For the Whim says, I'm enjoying parts of it. It doesn't seem like there are many crafting recipes or items yet. I'm hoping those show up and it's not just items showing up in the shop like they've done for the couple previous events. I think the colors are really cute and the events itself is going to be lots of fun. And the maracas are absolutely adorable and I think they're easily one of the best items we've gotten, which is
Yes.
totally true.
Yes.
Yeah, I totally forgot to mention those at the beginning. I love them. They were a letter from Nintendo. They are orderable through the app too, so it's something you can keep getting more of, but very, very cute.
Oh, nice.
This
Yeah.
is totally the smallest detail too, but the way that you hold two of them in one hand when you're not using them, and then they switch to being shaken with two hands,
Yeah.
is unbelievable to me. That could never have been done in any other Animal Crossing game.
I need to pay attention to that and see what you're talking about.
You've got to.
Yeah. Our next answer is from Quantrell. Shout out to Quantrell, also another person who's been on our show before. Check out that episode, it's a
Yeah.
great one. But Quantrell said, the entirety of the update is fine. Pave is my favorite of the big five holiday characters. My issue is with the trailer. It was very underwhelming. Most of the update excitement was all the info we got after the trailer, thanks to the Japanese website. There's no
Yeah.
reason there couldn't be a montage of the other events, holiday items in the trailer too.
Totally.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm right there with you. And it's kind of strange that we see like such a big mix of stuff that was in the trailer and not in the trailer. This isn't the first time it happened, but I think it was the weirdest time it happened considering how short that trailer was. It was a minute. That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they did on purpose though. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah. So Lindsay Schley said, I think everything with Pave looked really good, but people are just wondering where Brewster and the gyros are at this point. It's just so weird. They've been hidden in pieces of the code since the summer, and we have heard no word of them officially. That's true. And I mean, I hope this doesn't pertain to the fact that Nintendo had bigger plans and they had to scale them back. Who knows? Maybe they're just scaling them for later, not
Yeah.
removing them or omitting them just later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got a big empty summer coming, so maybe there'll be a summer filler.
Good point.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, maybe it's just that we gotta wait for summer for some of these big things to get added because, like if you all played during autumn and winter, it was pretty packed in October, November, and December. There was hardly time to breathe during those months. I was playing so much. So now we get a little break between now and then, just enjoy your daily chores and that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Arcane Flame says, I love it. A lot of the new Pave set is going to work so well for the Jurassic Park themed island I'm working on, along with it fitting well on my ostrich villager heavy main island. I was expecting this update to be light, but was semi-hoping for a museum update with the roost and the museum shop being added per rumors. But I can wait for later on in year 2, since it seems to be more of a 2.0 update thing now that the holidays have been cycled through. Unless they make major holiday changes, I'm expecting this next year of updates to focus on things like a Nook's Cranny update and other things missing from the title like Joyroids and the Roost. So yeah, people kind of echoing each other's sentiments about big things seem to be missing, and hopefully we'll see them soon.
Season 2 of New Horizons.
Season
It's coming up.
2.
Also, Arcane, I know you're listening here live right now. I'm going to need to see that Jurassic Park themed island whenever you get the chance. Drop
Sounds
that
pretty
dream
awesome.
address because Jackie has a whole Jurassic Park section on her island, which is, it's fun that other people are doing that too. So
Nice.
very cool. Yeah. Anyways, thank you all so much for tuning in to this episode of Haken, an Animal Crossing podcast. Don't want the episode to end? Well, you can keep the conversation going by Nintendo switching over to our Discord. Just follow the link in the description, and you can talk with other people who love Animal Crossing as much as you do, including Sergio, Nina, and me. Want to support the show in a bigger way and get your voice heard during the show? Visit patreon.com/ChuiPlaysNintendo. You can support our show with just $1, get special access to a secret room on Discord, join in on the Haken Islander Corner, and even read a monthly newsletter covering all things Haken and Chuy Plays. I just put one out yesterday, so, worth checking out. We really appreciate the support and put your money towards some great things on the show. Tuned in on YouTube, the comments are a great place to let us know your answers to the Haken Islander Corner. What did you think of the late January update? If you dig what you hear, please KK slide over to that review section on your platform of choice. Let people know what they're missing out on. Haken is a wild production brought to you by Chuy, Sergio, Nina, and all of our patrons. We thank you for listening, and we hope you have a great week.
Goodbye, everybody.
See you all next time.